Have you ever just stopped to think about the wind? I mean, really think about it. It's this totally invisible force that can rustle leaves, power these massive turbines, and literally shape our planet's weather. It's one of the most powerful engines on Earth, and today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works.
So let's start with the most basic question of all. It seems kind of obvious, right? We feel it on our skin every single day. But what is wind, really? What's actually going on? Well, when you boil it all down, wind is just air on the move. And it only ever moves for one reason: to balance things out. See, air naturally flows from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. It's kind of like it's rushing in to fill a void. And that single concept, that pressure difference, that's the golden thread. It's the key to understanding everything we're going to talk about.
Okay, so if wind is just air moving from high to low pressure, that begs the next question, doesn't it? What creates that pressure difference in the first place? Well, the answer is actually surprisingly simple. It all comes down to the sun and the fact that it heats our planet unevenly.
Let's look at this on a huge global scale. Think about it. The sun beats down directly on the equator. All that intense heat warms up the air, causing it to expand and rise. It's like taking the lid off a boiling pot. That rising air creates a massive, permanent zone of low pressure. Now, contrast that with the poles. The sun's rays glance off at an angle, so the air stays super cold and dense and it sinks. That creates high pressure. And nature can't stand an imbalance. So that cold, heavy air at the poles starts to flow toward the equator to fill the gap. And boom, just like that, you have the beginning of a planetary wind system.
And what's so cool is that this exact same principle works on a much smaller scale, too. Just think about a day at the beach. You know how the sand gets blazing hot really fast, but the ocean water stays cool for much longer? And then at night, the sand cools right down, but the water holds on to its heat. That simple little difference is the engine behind all sorts of local and seasonal winds.
So to make sense of all these different winds, from the planet-spanning giants to the local breezes, scientists have sorted them into three main systems. You can think of this as our blueprint. It's a way to zoom in from the biggest currents right down to the weather in your own neighborhood.
Okay, so first up, you've got the primary or planetary winds. These are the big ones, the constants, kind of like global conveyor belts that are always blowing in one direction. Then one level down, we have the secondary or periodic winds. These are the seasonals. Think monsoons that actually change direction depending on the time of year. And finally, we get to the tertiary or local winds. These are the breezes in our backyards, the ones that just pop up for short bursts in small, specific areas. All right, let's dive into that first category. We're talking about the giants here, the primary winds that really are the planet's global engine. So here are the three main players. First, you've got the famous trade winds. The name says it all, right? For centuries, sailors relied on these steady winds to carry their ships across the oceans. Then there are the Westerlies, which are incredibly powerful, especially in the southern hemisphere. Sailors even gave them nicknames like the Roaring Forties and Furious Fifties. Trust me, they were not kidding. And finally, you have the chilly polar easterlies, which are just cold, dry winds flowing out from the poles. All three of these work together, creating this huge, constantly turning system of air that circles the entire globe. Now, those primary winds are the constants. They're always there. But other winds play by a different set of rules. So let's talk about the secondary winds, the ones that operate on a seasonal schedule.
And when you think of a seasonal wind, one word probably comes to mind: monsoon. This is the absolute classic example. And guess what? It's driven by that exact same land versus sea heating difference we talked about, just blown up to a massive continental scale. In the summer, the huge landmass of Asia heats up way faster than the Indian Ocean. This creates a giant low-pressure vacuum that just sucks in all that cool, moisture-packed air from the ocean, bringing the famous rains. Then, come winter, the entire system flips in reverse. It's a truly dramatic shift.
Okay, so this brings us down to the most relatable scale of all, the local winds. And we're about to see how the very same physics that drive a continent-spanning monsoon also create the breeze right outside your door.
This is basically the monsoon in miniature, and it happens every single day at the coast. You know exactly what this feels like. It's that perfect, refreshing breeze that kicks up off the ocean in the afternoon. That's a sea breeze. It happens because the land heated up faster than the water, so the cooler ocean air rushes in to take its place. Then, like clockwork, at night, the whole thing reverses, and a gentle land breeze blows back out to sea. It's a perfect daily cycle.
And it's not just at the coast. We see the exact same idea in the mountains. During the day, the sun warms the mountain slopes, causing the air to rise and pull a valley breeze up from below. Then at night, those slopes cool off fast,
and that cold, dense air sinks back down into the valley as a mountain breeze. Are you seeing the pattern here? From the coast to the mountains, it's the same principle every single time. Uneven heating creates a pressure difference.
So let's just bring it all home. Whether we're talking about the massive trade winds circling the globe or that gentle sea breeze on a summer afternoon, it all comes back to one simple, elegant idea. The sun heats the earth unevenly. That creates pressure differences, and wind is just nature's way of balancing the books. It's this constant, dynamic, beautiful process of the earth seeking equilibrium.
And that leaves us with a final thought. We've seen that wind is basically the Earth's circulatory system, always working to balance temperature around the globe. So the question to chew on is this. Where else in your daily life do you see this kind of powerful balancing act happening in the natural world? It's pretty amazing when you start to look for it.